is Larry Flint a bigger believer than, MicroStrategy CEO? I don't think so. I think it's very much driven by a more steady hand of capital allocation and profit to shareholders that is just logical right now. I don't think there's an element of oh, I believe in this, like traditionally the crypto ecosystem would do. We are very hyped about the thing. We jump into a new product. We believe it's going to revolutionize the future, and then we get behind it. It becomes much more calculated. It's algorithmic trading, is profits versus reward, and is risk models. How much am I risking by putting this or that, and how much am I going to take?
Hi, everyone. Today we have an esteemed guest. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, guys. My name is Sergiu Hamza. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CoinExams. We are an award-winning off-chain analysis platform. We do something different. We're doing by off-chain, I mean everything that is not CoinExams doing, and in a way we're very complementary. So we're looking at the crypto economy at a country-by-country basis. So we're not looking to so much as cryptocurrencies and tokens, but more of everybody else that is kind of enhancing this ecosystem. So we started being quite well known for the global crypto ranking. It was a fun way to put all this data into good use. And then at E030, we started looking at what is the compliant way to deal with crypto for people to buy Bitcoin legally in their country. And 2021, it was not a good, there were not so many references, but now there seems to be more and more. So we're very, very busy.
Perfect. So why would you think that the Revolut Tech took such a long time to basically create their exchange? Why didn't they, for example, buy like a smaller exchange instead?
Yeah, very interesting. I think they're good at tech, and I think they're very good at servicing users, retail, and exchanges are very bad actually at that. Most of their services are garbage. Or like the customer services. They are very difficult to do because users grab their ears into very, very complex situations. And yeah, crypto exchange, they don't know how to help them. So Revolut has a very good instance of simplifying everything and making it like super straightforward. And I think they leverage that. It's also about, you need to prioritize, and maybe in the end it was not such a big priority for them. Maybe expansion to the US was more important than because it's what their big fight was the last years. I'm not an expert in Revolut, but I kind of admire them from a distance on
so if you talk about
personal services that they have.
The crypto banking in general, do you see them like which services are they focused on? Like even on the institutional front, are they, for example, focused on like certain allocations? Let's say, for example, a family office or an investment office. Are they just like focusing on having like we heard a lot about like the 1% allocate 1% to Bitcoin of your asset or something like that. Are they on that, or are also they participating in trading and banks are helping and facilitating this trade transactions?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of the smart money moving into that direction. The allocation of those large portfolios, they're going to go in. Now, being a territory that is legitimate in a way, supported by your banking service provider, it will just make sense for them to enlarge and say, okay, the profits are going to be in this territory. We're just going to do something super smart like we're being used to doing. And then smart money will make a very easy choice. It's going to be a very easy choice for them to do, either through an ETF or whatever other.
But I mean, are they like these institutions with the banks? Are they also like actively maybe trading or doing like some transaction, or is this just like a holder model, like they just buy and hold basically with the bank?
It's an interesting question, and I don't know. It's very for me. I think if I will follow a normal business plan, it's going to be start selling first, forget about any features, see if there's a market fit, establish market fit, and then grow from there. So I think what they're doing right now is just selling, trying to understand what clients are willing to buy, and once they would see that signal for large clients, and those clients become more and more sophisticated to everybody wants to reduce their risk and increase their profits. So they will start getting more sophisticated about the type of products that they're offering in a crypto space. And if we're talking about beliefs, so does is Larry Flint a bigger believer than, you know, MicroStrategy CEO? I don't think so. I think it's very much driven by a more steady hand of capital allocation and profit to shareholders that is just logical right now. I don't think there's an element of oh, I believe in this, like traditionally the crypto ecosystem would do. We are very hyped about the thing. We jump into a new product. We believe it's going to revolutionize the future, and then we get behind it. It becomes much more calculated. It's algorithmic trading, is profits versus reward, and is risk models. How much am I risking by putting this or that, and how much am I going to take? It's a very calculated and interesting step, but again, I would be very worried for the incumbents in the crypto space that seem very relaxed right now and joyful that there's so much, you know, the price of Bitcoin goes up. Everybody that has stacked a little bit, they're thinking, this is good. It's gonna be great. But in the same time, you are competing not with somebody else, like with another person in the US or in another person over there, or in Europe or in Hong Kong, what used to be the case before. And all of a sudden you're competing with algorithms, and you're competing with very well structured machines and corporations.
So basically, if we go back to these institutions and the banks specifically, you mentioned that they are that you focus on the ones that advertise crypto. So in what capacity do they advertise crypto or support crypto? Is it like normally something that's prominent on their website, or are this like more of a hidden link that they support?
So we did take, and again, we're very biased in a way because we do focus on the English websites, and we do focus on pages that are very clear about the types of services that are being offered, and we only count those, right? We obviously use translation mechanisms. So we looked at, sometimes in Japan, we don't really understand the structure of their banks and who's offering actually what. It's very hard from outside to do it. For Europe, it's very easy because it's more close to my own understanding and the team's understanding. And also for the US, is we all kind of grew up, so we understand them better. Latin America, this is why we're kind of looking for experts. We're collaborating with Agente BTC in Latin America, where their opinion was very valuable, right? To trying to estimate what is actually going on the ground. They're in payments there. So
yes. So basically,
does that
on
answer?
a website, are they like featuring the crypto or promoting crypto services? Are they promoting it, like, for example, let's say on the homepage, for example, or is it
Yes.
I see. Oh,
yeah. So this would be advertised crypto banks, right? And or having crypto services that are clearly stated in there. And it's a blend. We didn't get into that presentation, but it's a very equal blend between traditional, very large market cap with a lot of employees, 10,000 plus employees. There's another third that is neobanks. So those guys would be the Web 2.0 fintechs. For them, they understand the retail, and for them it's easier to expand into crypto. And then there's obviously the crypto native banks. Those guys would be born either from an exchange or from the idea that we can provide liquidity to the crypto exchanges through regulated services. But it's surprising, again, because last year there were less incumbents advertising. It was now we see them very much so advertising crypto services, again, because they have regulatory level. So it's very clear what they can and cannot offer. And two, they have the backing of new services like the ETF, where we probably will see a huge growth, because it's just like buying another service for them. They know how to do that very well. They understand the risk and rewards of such services, and it will be easier for them to kind of jump in and diversify.
I see. So the report that you shared and mentioned about, do you have like a detailed version of it, like maybe offered to institutions?
So we do provide a lot of the data, actually the underpinning data. We have a PDF that kind of highlights the main takeaway, and then we do have the data. We'll try to share it with you after this. And in the data is actually a very clear. There's a lot of banks that are interested into this data because they are actually doing their competitor analysis in a way. They kind of all of a sudden they want to see who's doing what at a glance. And I think that's very valuable. We always start with data collection and data cleaning and visualization, because that's kind of the starting point of what we want to say. And then we go to leaders and ask, so what does this mean, right? Because we see this moved up and this other metric moved up, and we go to the deepness of what is that reality. So again, combining the data.
So when you say leaders, you mean like, for example, let's say you get the data from a specific bank and you want to clarification, then you also have like some communication with this leader of this bank or institution just to get like clarification and adjust and like put the data basically in its clearer position, is it?
Yeah, we kind of share with them, obviously, the guys that we have mentioned. We share with them the reports and the data, and we kind of cross-validate. So does this seem real to you? Does we put your bank in this position? Is that something that you think is corresponding to reality? And then we had very, very good positive feedback on all of it. Everybody's like, oh, wow, like, oh, I didn't thought this is happening. I didn't see that in my. Obviously, they do have their internal reporting and data gathering structure. I think we're providing a neutral view of the world from outside, which is
very nice. I mean, and you also like being in Ireland is like, it seems like in the middle between all this. If you like the map you showed, the density of it, it's like almost like you're at the center of gravity there. So it's very interesting. So yeah. When you look at like
This episode is sponsored by DegreeSign.
CoinExams platform was purpose-built by DegreeSign to be one of the best-performing platforms in the crypto space.
DegreeSign is an agency developing web products with a long experience of building products from scratch for maximum performance and stability.
Start today. Just email make@degreesign.com.
You mentioned that a lot of banks are offering services in the US. How does the regulation like impact them? Because if my understanding, it was my understanding that a lot of banks and let's say companies had like tried to exit the US, especially because of these regulations. Or is it the what you mentioned, that the technology companies are finding it hard to compete in this environment, but banks are instead capitalizing on this regulation and flourishing?
Yes, exactly. That's definitely the case. The second point, because obviously there's a big squeeze, but you see it's happening in the same time. There was a big exodus of native crypto companies outside of the US because of regulation. And in the same time, the institutions are here, and the ones that we're waiting for so many years, they're navigating so easily this territory, right? Nobody would have predicted. I wouldn't have put all my money into saying that the ETF is going to go live on the 10th of January.
It was fascinating. Honestly, I thought it's like more like a rumor or something. There's something.
Yeah. But nobody gets things this fast done in this space. They're probably mistaking. But you shouldn't bet your money against 10 or 15 of the largest entities in the US. And we know very well that since the 60s or even before that, US economy is all about protecting their own interest and the company's interest, not necessarily the retail investor. So they will absolutely bat for all these services to protect large corporations that need to survive. Now, it's also interesting that the smaller banks are actually, we've seen some failures in there last year. You had Silicon Valley and Silvergate. There were a lot of noises, but those were the banks that were supporting the little crypto companies, the small ones, right? The entrepreneurs, the crypto ecosystem.
It's
so those
to think about.
They needed to. I mean, they needed to. They provided some blockage, and they provided they provided liquidity to some companies that didn't have the backing of large institutions, and therefore they had to go. And in Europe, it's also interesting because we have this massive players. I mean, in France, you would have the biggest banks actually very openly communicating about this and advertising services. In Germany, the same. But the crypto ecosystem, it's very, very different, right? There's no massive exchanges. I mean, there's a few, but not as many as you would see in the US. And there's a few companies, but not the unicorns that the US might have, right?
Are you also monitoring like when they offer crypto services, are they offering also non-custodial, like for example, giving clients custody of or the ability to take custody of these assets, or are you not monitoring this?
Yeah, we do offer, we did look at it, and especially the guys that had wallets, and you could have like your own wallet in there, and you have your own keys. Those are interesting, and they're offering again for business. We could probably in the future do a split between who offer individual and who offer business, because businesses need to start having their treasuries settled right in a way. So if there's enough demand, I think they will introduce this more. But in the same time, like Europe gave some signals that they don't really prefer, self-custody is not something that we really encourage, or there's nuances there. Obviously, it's very
yeah, I guess for businesses it's easier to have the bank to have the custody of the assets, because otherwise they don't need to worry about like all this overhead managing it.
Let me keep all that for you.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry at all for that.
Yeah, but then we have to look back at the Silicon Valley case like that you just mentioned, and a lot of companies lost liquidity overnight for even their
Yeah, it's a moving territory, and obviously it's advancing really fast. I think it's fantastic to see the evolution from one year to the next. Maybe a question for you, because we discussed in the beginning about Indonesia, but in terms of crypto friendliness of countries, and where do you see things happening more right now? It would be interesting to get your thoughts.
I mean, for example, here we had crypto exchanges for over 10 years. So, and we have never had like a lapse. Like some other countries in Southeast Asia, they had a lapse. Like, for example, the central bank came in and banned crypto a couple of years. I think this was in Malaysia. It was like 1 or 2 years. And some other countries also like had like this volatility in the regulation. But in Indonesia here, it like progressed slowly. So initially it was like open for all, so there was a lot of exchanges. Then they limited it. At the moment, the status is that crypto is an asset. It's allowed to hold, buy, and sell, and all these things, but you're not allowed to use it for products and services like within the country. So this is the current status. But yeah, obviously it's like moving, but it moves in general here in Indonesia and in the wider Southeast Asia. Regulations move slowly. Like it doesn't basically change overnight. Even it changes fast, but it changes like gradually. So the status at the moment, the status quo is that a lot of crypto companies or exchanges rather coexist with banks, and they have like the on-ramp and off-ramp is very seamless. But banks don't see the need to advertise their services for crypto. Could be because they don't want to deal with the regulation, but also because there is a very robust, because it has been more than 10 years of exchanges. There's a very robust infrastructure for exchanges here, and most of them are local. So even Binance was forced to close its Indonesian operations, and it had to open like a separate exchange that's supported by Binance, but it's local exchange. So because Indonesia specifically is like not many countries like this, especially larger ones, it's a very closed economy, or like it's very internal economy. It's not closed rather, but it's just like internal. So a lot of activity is just done because of the sheer size of it. So it's mostly like the whole economy is like internal. So that's why a lot of local exchanges find it good enough to support like just only for local population.
And for you as an entrepreneur, obviously, can you deal in crypto on your company? So just accept crypto and
so for me, I'm basically like I'm not doing business here, so I'm not impacted by this. I'm working with like international companies and
clients,
like giving, so basically, but if someone is doing business here, it's usually very, from my understanding, it's like relatively, obviously here the paperwork is a lot, but the process is very clear. Like if you want, for example, to launch a crypto exchange or to do any process, like the process is very clear, even though they are changing, but it's usually clear like what you have to do to launch like any crypto business.
And because you have like international clients, obviously, would you be able to point which country for you seems right now the most crypto welcoming?
I mean, for me, I would say Indonesia.
Really?
But from my, like, let's say international view, I thought that Germany was one of the interesting, especially in terms of retail or people holding crypto. It was very big. Obviously, the US is like the biggest, or one of the biggest at least. So yeah, this is like from my point of view here. But yeah, I guess like you have, I should be asking you this because you have like more research about this. Like, My focus is mostly about the utility and technology of the crypto coins, various crypto
Right.
coins. So I'm analyzing it at a technological level, not exactly like the market or researching the institutions.
Yeah. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate your answers.
Perfect. And thanks so much for your time and your feedback and like also like the overview. I think it should be very helpful for anyone who wants to understand, especially that this is like a very so it's like an emerging space within the crypto, which is even emerging in itself. So I think we're just at the beginning of something huge, like about banks, crypto banks is something that's very interesting. So
Thanks so
how
much,
does,
Hassan.
like the people reaching you? I know like you have your website. What other channels do you want to shout out?
No, just the website. I think Twitter is and X is a very real platform to get opinions, and you can always the messaging though is very like old social media is a little bit disturbing. You never know what you would. So contacting, I think through the website is the easiest way.
And how about your reports? Like, do you have? I understand like you offer some reports. Are you like offering something this year, like a reports of some nature?
Yes, so we do have a media kit. We don't have much space on it. We did got some expert partnership and co-branding opportunities for this report. We're usually looking for partners that do contribute data and contribute a lot of interesting insights into the report, instead of saying, oh, we're the best token or we're the best exchange. Is more like, oh, we have this interesting data, and our next report is going to be on crypto taxes and then the global crypto ranking
Are
with
these
very strong
reports
partners.
offered for free, or do you have like some paid reports?
So the reports are free. We found that the best way to give back to the community. The only thing that we monetize are obviously the partnerships. So the companies that want to be listed in the report, then we to a certain extent, right? So we because we're a media company, we don't have like a product to sell. So we're banking on partnerships, and then we're also trying to sell the data of the report. So the underlying data, we try to put them in the report. There's very few people, there's a small community that actually goes through the hundreds of Excel tabs, right, of the data. But the people that do need that, I think they get a lot of value out of it.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And yeah, hope you have a nice day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks so much.